Hi, how's it going? My name is Charlie and today I'm going to tell you about all of the books that I want to read in 2021. This video was supposed to be filmed and uploaded much earlier than it is going to be. I had planned on having this be right after my books I read in 2020 video. However, that didn't happen, so I've actually already read some of the books, but I'm going to include them anyway because I did plan on reading them this year, and I did read them already this year. Without further ado, these are the books that I plan to read in 2021. Firstly, let's start with the books that I've already read this year, starting with two of the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics that I am continuing from reading from last year. The two that I have read so far are The Rift and Smoke and Shadow. I'm going to be reading North and South this weekend, hopefully, but I read The Rift and Smoke and Shadow. I talked about this in my 2020 books, but the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics are fantastic. They're made by the same people who created the Avatar: The Last Airbender show, so I highly recommend, if you want a continuation of the universe, to read the comics. Just like I did in my 2020 video, I'll be linking all of the comics that you can read online. It's a fun time. I like them a lot. Next up on books that I've already read this year, if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I have been talking about this book a lot because it is fantastic. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This book blew me away, and I have not read any of her other books before. I'm very excited about this book. I highly recommend it. It is about six teenagers who are pulling off a heist. It is in a fantasy world where there are people that have magic abilities. It's a fantastic read, and I read about half of it in one night because I just couldn't put it down, so I highly recommend it. Following this book, my other plans for 2021 reading are to read the second book for this series, which is called Crooked Kingdom, I believe. I also want to read the series that comes before this because I never actually read it, but the Shadow and Bone series, or the Grisha trilogy that comes before this duology. I want to read all three of those. I already have them on hold at the library, so I'm very excited to read them. Also, because I'm in like a Leigh Bardugo thing right now apparently, I also put on hold King of Scars, which I hope to read this year as well. But now let's go on to some other ones. This is actually the book I'm currently reading. Currently reading The Rise of Kyoshi, which is a novel that's based off of the Avatar comics. Can you tell that I like Avatar? Because I really like Avatar. So I'm enjoying this book so far. It is really fun to experience the Avatar world in different media and mediums, and I'm really enjoying it so far. Kyoshi is obviously a fantastic avatar, and I am really excited to learn more about her and her history. Obviously, I look at a lot of like fan blogs and stuff for Avatar, so I already know quite a bit about Kyoshi, but I'm really excited to read more and learn more about her, and so far I'm really enjoying it. The Rise of Kyoshi was published in 2019, so just a couple years ago. So it takes place 400 years prior to the Avatar: The Last Airbender series, which feels like a lot. I guess Kyoshi did live to be pretty old. I'm very excited to continue reading it. The next book that's on my read list for 2021 is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So I had this book read to me when I was a pretty little kid, and I obviously really love the films, both the 90s version and the 2019 version. I am really excited to actually read this book as an adult. I think I have had the kid version read to me, so it wasn't even the extended original version. My friend Sophie picked up this vintage copy for me a couple years ago, and I have yet to read it, and I'm not sure if I want to read this vintage copy because it's very cool and old, or if I'm gonna get it from the library. I have a weird thing about old books. I like them, but I don't like reading them. Little Women, for those who don't know, is a coming-of-age story of four sisters: Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy. 1860s, yes, because it's during the United States Civil War. So it follows the lives of the four sisters during the war. I highly recommend checking out the film versions as well because I really like them, but I'm excited to delve into the book and to actually read Louisa May Alcott's writing because I never have actually read it. It's just been read to me. The next book that I want to read this year is called An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. So I read Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson at the end of 2020 and I loved it, and then I ordered a copy to keep of Sorcery of Thorns because I got it from the library, and I also ordered a copy of her other book called An Enchantment of Ravens, and I'm very excited to read it. I honestly don't know a lot about it. I was like, you know what? I like this author's writing style, so I'm just gonna get it. I really like Margaret Rogerson's writing from Sorcery of Thorns, so I'm looking forward to An Enchantment of Ravens as well. Next up on my list is Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud. It was published in 1908 and I have the coolest version ever. I have an illustrated copy that I got on Thrift Books. Let's see if I can grab it. Oh yeah. I think it's beautiful and I can't wait to read it. It's got incredible illustrations, amazing illustrations. So I bought that copy right after I finished watching Anne with an E on Netflix because I loved it so much. I used to watch the Anne of Green Gables cartoon that was on PBS Kids and I really loved it. And so I loved Anne with an E as well, and I'm really excited to read Anne of Green Gables. I also read this when I was really young. I don't have my copy anymore, so I'm really happy that I got such an amazing illustrated one, and I think it was only like 10 bucks, and it's old and beautiful. So if you're looking for some beautiful illustrated books, check out Thrift Books. So it was published in 1908 and it takes place around the same time, and it takes place in Canada. Yay, Canadians. So the story follows our protagonist, whose name is Anne Shirley, who's an 11-year-old girl who was an orphan, and she was adopted by a brother and sister who are running a farm on their land, and they accidentally adopt a girl. They were looking for a boy, but they adopt a girl. It's about all of her adventures in the little town of Avonlea, Canada, and I'm very excited to read it. I loved the show so much. I highly recommend that you watch it. So next up we have a couple recommendations from my parents. So the first one that's up is called Where the Crawdads Sing. It seems like, from what I'm gathering from this book and what I've looked up, there's two main storylines and they slowly intertwine together, and one of them includes a murder mystery. So I'm looking forward to reading it. It is a like adult novel, like it's not a YA, which is usually what I enjoy reading, so I'm interested to see how much I like it since it's not in the genre that I typically read. The next one is another recommendation, but it's from my mom. My mom is a 5th grade teacher and she recommended this book because it's one of the required reads for her class that they did earlier in the fall, and it's called Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. So it was published in 1990 and the school chose this book for all of the, I think, 4th and 5th grade classes to read because it deals with racial inequality. I'm interested in reading this book not just from the perspective of curious about what happens in the book, but curious as to why teachers have chosen this as a book to teach kids about racial inequality. So if you've read it before and have any thoughts about it, I'd love to hear down below, but obviously leave spoilers free because I haven't read it yet. Next on my list is called The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. I actually have it right here. I got this book for Christmas from my sibling Sydney, and it is a continuation of the Percy Jackson series. So if you don't know me in real life, Percy Jackson was kind of my entire life in middle school. I dressed up as Annabeth for Halloween. I had a Camp Half-Blood shirt that I wore everywhere. I literally thought that I was a half-blood. I don't know how that was possible because my parents have had a very committed, healthy relationship, but I thought that I was a half-blood for a while. Just like I thought that I was going to be waiting for my Hogwarts letter. I used to reblog stuff like this on Tumblr where it was like, I am a tribute, I am a half-blood, I am the chosen one, stuff like that. I was a fun middle school kid, but I'm really excited to get back into it. I've been talking about wanting to reread the Percy Jackson series for a while now, and I think I might actually try to do it this summer. My mom picked up a copy at a thrift store because we can't find our original set anywhere, which is crazy. I probably loaned it to a friend or something and never got it back. So I'm looking forward to reading this and continuing on. I really like this style book. I just love how fast it is. I'm excited to continue reading on with the series, and let me know if you like the continuation of the Percy Jackson series because I'd love to know. That is everything on my to be read list for this year. Obviously, I'm going to be adding stuff as the year goes on, but this is just kind of my starting place. I don't want to overwhelm myself, but I plan on finishing, I forgot to mention at the beginning, but I plan on finishing all of the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, as well as all of the Legend of Korra comics this year, which I'm super excited for. As you might have noticed, those are the only graphic novels on my list right now, so if you have any graphic novel recommendations, please let me know. I'm also working on a book list of plus-size characters that are written diversely and justly, not just characters that are used as villains or comic relief purposes. Characters like Nina from Six of Crows, who I love very much. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments, because I'm looking for a lot more. The joy that I felt while reading a character that I felt like I could relate to. I just want to eat waffles with Nina. It would just be so fun. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and let me know what books you plan to read this year, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!